Welcome to another episode of the My Two Bits Gators Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ben, joined as always by your other host, Mr. Randy. Randy, Florida basketball is live for the 2025 season. How are we feeling, my friend?
We're feeling good, man. We're feeling really good. So just anxious in a good way in seeing what this squad will do here in 25, 26. Like we mentioned before, talking offline, play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, given the rankings, given their odds to win another one. And also just gonna be happy to see these new additions, see how they integrate into the mix. But so excited! It's absolutely palpable. It's fall. It A lot of sports in play. It's a good time, man. It's a good time.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Of course, this is the football podcast, so we will leave the basketball alone for now, though we may provide some random updates on that as we have been known to do in the
Fair,
past. But for
fair.
the time being, we will get back to the football here, and as always, we will get things started off with our intro for this week's analysis of the Georgia game. They will start with our mission, our accuracy disclaimer, our vision, and our agenda. And for tonight, that of course means our mission is to provide factual analysis of all things Florida Gator football. Our accuracy disclaimer is that our information will be accurate to the best of our possible ability. We will cite our sources whenever we use them, and all statistical data either comes from ESPN or stats.ncaa.org, and recruiting data comes from on3.com. Our vision, as always, is to have unfiltered conversation around the product on the field, as well as recruiting and overall coaching decisions. Our analysis will be based on review of film, and while we will express opinion, that opinion should always be based in some form of fact. We will also evaluate strategy and tactics and discuss our observation of player personnel decisions as well as on the field execution. All right, as always, our agenda for this evening for these game analysis, we'll start with our Oh My section, talk about the exciting plays from Saturday's game, do our offensive review in the Chomp segment, do our defensive review in Gator Bait, talk about our gripes from the game in Visor Throw, talk about the recruiting section in Hatchlings, talk about culture in Pride of the Sunshine, have an officiating review in Move Back You Suck. That one's going to be interesting this evening. And then we will wrap things up, talk about where the program goes from here, or where the team goes from here through the rest of the season, play a little keep it or pitch it for this week's game with Kentucky, and wrap things up with the notes from the Sims in NCAA 26 that I run each week. So with that, let's get things started. Give us your home eyes from Saturday's game against UGA.
Yes, sir. I'm going to keep it short and sweet as much as I can. First is first. Touchdown pass to Trey. Um, the thing about this play that makes it so exciting is the fact that Trey starts off on the opposite side of the field. I like the way he slid just under his man and he kept running. He did not stop. Kept going, kept going. Lagway, of course, takes out of the pocket, rolls right, moves up. When he does that, the safety moves up and moves over. And then after the scramble, great awareness by Trey just to find that little pocket where he had, 7 yards on one side, 10, 11 yards on the other side, made a great catch, a few yards in for a nice 40-yard catch and touchdown. That is the way that you like to see DJ scramble, keep his head up, look at his checkdowns, but at the same time find that open man downfield, which, as we know, seems like to have been taken away more and more since last year. So great find, great touchdown pass, and of course to answer Georgia to tie things up in the first quarter. My next my comes to us from none other than Devin Moore. Love the interception by him. Great concentration. Tip drill, right? Secures the ball, right place, right time, focused for the takeaway, and not to mention he got 6 or 7 yards out of it coming back, and that was very important because that gave us the opportunity to take the lead in a big way. We were hoping for 6, obviously, but that did set up Smack's field goal, which gave UF, I'm not sure if you know this, B, that gave us our first lead out of the first quarter in this series, in this rivalry game, since 2016. I
Wow.
thought that
No, I
was
did
wild.
not know that. Nice stat.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely wild. Like, when was the last time we had the lead at the end of the first quarter? Ha ha! Thank you. The assist from Google, Gemini, whoever, whatever, AI. Yep. Okay, great. Um, and then outside of that, it was tough for me for a third one. I had three that I had to narrow it down to, and for me, I am going to finalize. I'm not sure if you had this one, but I'm gonna go with Jaden Ball. Jaden Ball had a run with about a minute 32 left in the first quarter. Uh, he ran up the middle, and it looks like he's bottled up. And then all of a sudden, he just bounces right to the outside for a huge
Yep.
gain and picks up a massive first down. And
Yep.
and this again, I don't think we can say enough about Jaden Ball, but just in the sense of this is who this kid is. The feet keep going, the hips keep going, everything just keeps going. He does not stop. He's constantly in motion, right? And I love the way he runs. He runs with purpose. He runs downfield. He's got great vision. But if I had to make an assumption with a lot of running backs, especially in that type of scenario, you just got met in the box by two or three jerseys. You're not sure what to do. You might panic. You might try and reverse field, or you might try and stop and try a shifty move. He just turned right, put his foot down. He's gone. And that just speaks to him and the way that he runs, the power in which he runs, the purpose in which he runs. So can't say enough about Jaden Baugh, obviously. So those are my three. Oh my's B. What about you? And I'm curious if you had any of those.
Yes, I did. I was actually
Oh,
wondering if we were going to go 3 for 3. So a couple weeks ago, we had none of the same, and I
yeah.
was thinking to myself, have we ever had three of the same? We did not. We're 2 of 3,
Okay.
which has happened many times. But I was wondering if we were going to go 3 for 3. So my
Yeah.
first two are going to match up here again.
Oh, okay.
Right with you. 40-yard TD to Trey, first TD of the game for us, obviously. I love the awareness from DJ that you pointed out. Moved out of the pocket, avoided the rush, right? Kept his eyes downfield and found Trey wide open with a great throw. Love your point that you made about Trey finishing the route, right? He didn't get open back there and just kind of hang out. He continued to finish the route along that side of the field, had the awareness to kind of see that, maybe DJ was scrambling a little bit there and kind of kept rolling with the quarterback to that side. And then a really nice ball, right? To be able to throw that on the move. I don't know if you kind of saw the replay there. He was definitely rolling to that side and threw a very nice ball while moving. This is the kind of stuff that DJ's capable of. Is to be able to make those kind of throws on the move. Now, obviously, had one later in the game that maybe could have been a little better, but this one was a very nice. Obviously, hit him right in stride, let him turn around and just walk it into the end zone. So, really good stuff. Definitely, obviously, need to see more of this from both DJ and the wide receivers, even though this was a blown coverage by Georgia, right? They, as you mentioned, the safety got sucked up by him moving out and left that wide open. We still
Hmm.
got to take advantage of these things when we have them, right? So I feel that's an important point to make in terms of this. So ultimately we were able to do that here and obviously be successful. So number two, you called it, tip drill interception by Devin Moore. Outstanding awareness to keep focused on the ball off of the receiver's hands and then not lose it after he initially didn't make the catch. So I don't know if you noticed this on the replay. I'm sure you probably did, but some of those watching at home may not have caught it. He
Yeah.
initially missed the catch and kind of bobbled it, but then was able to keep his concentration, make the catch, had his leg wrapped up, got out of that tackle, and was actually able to secure some yak, right? Yards after the catch there in getting back downfield. So
Yep.
here's Devin, comes back from the injury he sustained against Mississippi State. Not something he's always been able to do. Is able to stay healthy on the field of death at Everbank Stadium, right? And not get hurt again and
Oh
make
boy.
plays like this. Absolutely great stuff. I love Devin Moore. I love that he has been healthy so far. Knock wood yet again. Really, really can't say enough good things about him. Love the contract year performance he's putting on. Hope he's able to continue to do it. Great, great, great stuff. My last one goes to none other than Mr. Trey Smack with the
Oh.
54-yard field goal to take the lead, right? So it's not just a 54-yarder, it's a 54-yarder for the lead in the fourth quarter. That field goal makes him the kicker with the most 50-plus yard field goals in Gator
Oh,
history.
you did find it. I was
I
wondering. Yeah.
did. I
Yeah.
did. Passes the great Caleb Sturgis for that mark. And to do it, to take the lead against UGA in a heated rivalry game in the fourth quarter, makes it all the better. Hats off to one of the best kickers I have seen put on the orange and blue. And I'm really excited to see how he can finish his career out here. Will he miss again? I don't know. He may not. Those three that we saw personally against LIU may be the last field goals Trace Mack will ever miss in a Gator uniform. Pretty amazing stuff. He is just automatic. He just lines up to kick it, and you're like, well, just mark the three down. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable stuff.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it. It's great to see. Did you hear the quote from him saying it's like kicking an extra point when he's kicking from 50? It's
Yeah,
just phenomenal.
that was uncanny. Like, yeah.
And funny because he really wasn't trying to be cocky either. He was just saying he gets to
No.
work the ball a little more, right? So, he's got more opportunity to kind of, move it around or whatever the case might be. He really wasn't even trying to be arrogant. So, love the kid. Really
More
love the
power to you,
attitude with
Trey.
him. Yeah, absolutely. Keep killing it, man. I hope he gets in the running for the Groza. I really do. Because he deserves it, man. He really does if he keeps kicking like this. So, awesome stuff. All right, on to Chomp. Let's talk offense. Um, I have some thoughts. All right, first for the numbers. Lagway, as always, NFL quarterback rating is what we use.
Hmm.
0 to 158.3. Anything over 100 is good. Lagway was a 96.88. Not bad. Not a bad number,
Oh
right?
wow.
Just below the
Seriously.
mark we would consider to be, quote, good, right? So we talked about this a few weeks ago. It doesn't mean that, close to 100 is bad. No, it just means it's not quite to that good category, but it's certainly not in the bad range at a
Yeah.
96.88, right? It's a solid number. 3.74 yards per carry, including sack yardage. There actually weren't any sacks, so that's not even a valid stat. But of course, due to DJ's running here, we were not going to eliminate sack yardage. I did take out that there was a negative 1 yard for team rushing yardage that I took out. Also took out Georgia's negative team yardage and sack yardage, but I'll let Randy speak to that later when he gets there. So we talked about this on Saturday on First Bites, but I was really underwhelmed with the offense in this game compared to what I hoped we would and could show and do in this game. We basically just ran Billy's offense in terms of play design, concepts, structure, formation, these things that I'm speaking of. Now, I've seen a lot of back and forth online and comment section and chatter on social media and stuff, just in some of the different forums I was looked around in over the weekend. And there's been a lot of debate as to this, right? Some people have said it was way better. Some people have said it was not better. Here's what my takeaway is, and this is just again what the film showed me. This is not even an opinion, okay, about whether or not it was better or worse or whatever. What it was mostly the same plays that we've run for most of the year, just not necessarily called the same way that Billy would have called them. And what I mean by that is like timing in terms of the times in which he would have called a run or a pass, or which pass or run he would have called on what down and distance. Billy was incredibly predictable with some of the things that he would do at certain times and spots throughout the game, throughout the down and distance, right? All these things that we talked about ad nauseum. That didn't happen. But a lot of the plays that actually were called were very much the same or very similar in concept at the very least. So, as I mentioned, while I'll give O'Hara that he kept Georgia guessing when it came to what he would call ultimately, or excuse me, when he would call ultimately what he was calling was mostly the same things we've been calling for 3.5 years. Not great, not ideal. There were some wrinkles here and there, right? Some things we hadn't necessarily seen from time to time. An example for you, I don't remember, at least not often seeing, if ever, quite frankly, the deep center post, we'll call it, right? From tray to the slot running on a post route off of play action. That's not a route concept that I'm familiar with in this offense. We run deep posts, but we don't typically do them from the slot. We usually do them from the X or the Y, meaning, or excuse me, the Y or the Z, meaning the outside receiver positions if we're going to run a deep post. We don't typically run it from the X, which is the slot receiver position, right? We did that with Trey in this game off of play action, and it worked beautifully. That's not a concept I've seen very often. So that was a wrinkle. I saw it once. It could have been run other times, again, without the all 22. If it wasn't thrown, I can't know for sure if it was run or not. But ultimately, that was something different. So that was cool. But again, I don't know how often it was really used, right? DJ running more. Okay, that was good, I guess, to mix it up. I talked about how I thought one of them was very significant, and I do think it was very significant in terms of putting that on film and seeing that as being a threat. However, we might have overused it a little bit. So again, there were some wrinkles. There were some things here or there that were a little different, but there were a ton of flood concepts. There were a ton of deeps with a drag underneath, right? There was a lot of still 11 and 12 personnel, pretty much exclusively 11 and 12 personnel. So, I love seeing Trey being used as an actual route runner, showing more of his value in that position and not just being a gadgety orbit motion type of guy, right? But I would like to see how we could potentially leverage him and VB3 once he comes back, assuming he comes back soon, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock wood, all that good stuff. Especially now that Dallas is, of course, out for the season. If you didn't know, sorry if I just broke your heart, but Dallas Wilson is done for the year.
Yeah.
So these are things that I would like to see what we can do with, how we can integrate more, what other wrinkles, and hopefully just more concepts in general we can put in. So as I did mention, we did do some things that worked, but DJ also missed some of those opportunities, particularly in the passing game. And I would like to see him get more of those opportunities by having some more creativity and leveraging more of the talent that we have on this roster. We have the ability to do this. We have the capability to do this. Again, it doesn't require, some ridiculous amount of planning or restructuring to do stuff like that. It just doesn't. Again, I told you we saw something that I don't remember really ever having seen in this offense on Saturday. If they can put that in, they can put other things in. It's just not that hard. I'll leave it at that. What you got for offense, bud?
Couple of great things said there, and it's funny. I've talked to a lot of people, well, a decent amount of people from Saturday, and I think the resounding statement is, "Huh, okay," and that's why I think, without being overly critical, the underwhelming to say we were underwhelmed, that's not really far off, right?
Yeah.
The main thing for me is what was tough to see is I feel like the energy was decent. I felt like the energy
Yep.
was good.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing Billy G on the sideline, clapping, pumping his
Yep.
fists, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
When the guys came over to the sideline, the pats, the high fives, just the constant encouragement. But for whatever reason, I did not see. I mean, it was there, yes, but B, I just didn't see enough of it.
Yep.
Um, I think I may have shared with you, like if you've got to try to get hyped up for this game and this rivalry, then
Yeah.
like what are you even doing,
Yep.
right? What are
Agreed.
we doing? So again, and 96.88, not terrible, right?
No, not at
3.74
all.
yards per carry, right?
Eh,
Low,
eh.
lower than we'd like, right? By about 2 yards or 1.8 yards, whatever. But no sacks. I'll take that. Um, the thing that was really tough, we were tied 10-10 at halftime. And when you
Shouldn't have
look
been, but
at
yes, we were.
shouldn't exactly should not have been, right? When you
We'll
look
get
at
to
the way
that.
that
We'll get to that later.
yeah, that second half ended, we had several opportunities, and especially coming out of the lead in the first quarter, 10-7. And here's the thing. You score 0 in the second, you score
Yeah.
7 in the third, you score 0 in the fourth.
Well,
And
no, three in the fourth. Three in the
I
fourth.
apologize, 3. So
Yeah.
you look at that, and from a rhythm standpoint, for whatever reason, B, we could not get into a consistent rhythm. Okay, let me take a little quote from Billy's book here. Stacking plays,
Yep.
right? If we just stacked, we couldn't stack a lot of plays. Couldn't find that rhythm. Okay,
Definitely
and
not in the second. The second was rough.
the second was rough. But and here's the odd thing too, B. We ran 22 plays in the first half.
Yeah.
Okay, which is wild to me. 22
Yeah.
plays in the first half because overall we ran 56 plays.
I
And I
had
was like,
50. I had 59.
59. Okay. Maybe we had a garbage time play here or there. Maybe there was a who knows what. North of 50, north of 55. How about that?
Yeah,
So
whatever,
that's what was
whatever.
tough
These
there,
these 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 differentiations and stats. Anyway, moving on.
you think. So that was tough there. The other thing is the lack of success on third down. Oh my
Yeah,
word.
once
Right?
again.
2 of 11? Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Really? And then to have to go for it on fourth down. Now, arguably, it was the right call to go for it, but to go for it, and again, the play call that was run, my word,
Yeah.
compared to something creative like, hey, let's overload one side, and how about a counter? Or how about a shifty design where it looks like we're going to run right here, but then we pull somebody out of the backfield and we go this way. We go to the outside because clearly up the middle was not working. Anyways, I digress. Underwhelmed, B, I think is a really good way to put it. 16 first downs, serviceable. 115 net rushing yards, eh. Passing yards, 166,
Yeah, it's rough.
right? 166 with a 62.5% completion percentage. Holy smokes, man. Right? I was happy about procedural penalties and the fact that we had very little. Because I'm telling you, B, I thought we would have had more than 5 penalties for 50 yards, especially on the offensive side of the football. Really thought there was
Yep.
going to be more. There were
Yep.
not. Very interesting. TOP, Georgia UGA beat us 32-25 to 27-35. Our second lowest TOP output of the season.
Yep.
Was not a fan of that. Anyways, Jaden Ball, 15 attempts, 72 yards, a touchdown, 4.8 yards a carry for Jaden Ball. And of course, Trey Wilson showed up in a big, big way. 9 receptions, 121 yards. And of course, his long was that 40-yard catch for the touchdown. Outside of that, J. Michael Sturdivant had 21 yards because another major one got was questionably called away. But either way, and then Jaden had a 17-yard pass pitch and catch there. So the thing about the offense that's tough is we had a lot of great things going, but just could not build momentum, could not stack plays, couldn't find rhythm. And the other thing, the last thing I'm going to say is, again, in this rivalry, I thought that DJ was going to come out on fire, like, like a Denzel and Man on Fire. I thought he was going to come out because he had a lot to prove from last year. This was the game where Everbank, the field, the turf, whatever, the hamstring, and I felt like he was going to come out and just set this game on fire. And for whatever reason, besides some of the great throws that we saw him make, besides the pass to Trey, besides the other pass that he had under pressure to J. Michael Sturdivant, he just, for whatever reason, did not leave his mark on this game. He did not play up to what I thought he could play to. Constantly looking at his eyes, it's that look of uncertainty. It's that look of confusion, not that look of intensity and drive. And I don't care what you put in front of me. I'm going to march down the field. I'm going to make you pay. For whatever reason, DJ is not DJ. If whatever it is, if it's going on between the ears, is he not healthy? He says he's healthy. Not sure, but for whatever reason, and that's why I'm not sure if you agree with this or not, B, a lot of people are calling for getting Trammell a snap or two or three to see what he does, because at the end of the day, DJ is not, for whatever reason, not what he was. And I think that is also aiding, not just the playbook, but aiding in some of the sputtering and the stalling that the offense has. And I'll leave that there.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I don't think that unless he's truly unhealthy, that should be the call. I don't think his play has warranted anything that would call for that at this point. Is it what we thought it would be or wanted it to be? No, but it hasn't been anything that I think calls for the backup to come in. I don't think it's been, poor or anything that's bad enough to call for that. And again, I think it's been a result of health. I think he hasn't been 100% healthy. Um, I think maybe we're getting there though. And I alluded to that in a conversation with you that we had offline. And we'll discuss that further at some point, but not right now. So anyway, let's move on. Let's get into the defense. Let's talk Gator bait. Where are we at? What do you got thoughts for us on defense wise?
All right. So Gator bait. Let's start off with the good old QBR, as you like to, for Mr. Gunner Stockton, 100.22 QBR. So more
Interesting.
than serviceable. More than serviceable. 3.78 yards per carry and allowed, and that does include the sack yardage. It's funny, B. I was thinking he went 20 of 29. That's about 68 and change percent, 69%, 223 yards. So I'm looking at the 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. So he had a couple of long plays in there. I thought that INT would have really graded him down on the Q bar a little bit more than it did, but I guess because the higher completion percentage, maybe that's why he stuck around 100.
Yeah,
But
and
either
maybe a
way,
little more yards per attempt, perhaps is factoring in
hmm
there a little more, right? But yeah, I just found it interesting how similar the numbers were across the board here, right? Almost the same quarterback
yeah,
rating, almost the same yards per carry. Very, very, very similar numbers for both teams here. Probably as similar as we've ever seen it
right.
from one side to the other in the same game. I don't know that I can ever remember a game where these numbers were so close.
No, I mean 96.88 compared to 100.22. That's very uncanny.
And 374 to 378. I mean,
Yes,
virtually identical on the yards per carry.
exactly. So, either way, so Georgia obviously was able to do some things well. They found creases, they found holes, they found gaps, and more importantly, they got the balls to their playmaker, right? So Zachariah Branch, for whatever reason, why we did not have someone on him or 2 or 3 yards off of him at all times, I don't know. But he went for 10 receptions, 112 yards with a long of 42 yards. Oddly enough, he did not have a touchdown. Dylan Bell and Noah Thomas obviously had the 2 touchdowns there. So we kept him out of the end zone, but we definitely did not keep him from racking up a ton of yardage. So that was what it
Yep.
was. Chauncey Bowens, great runner. I mean, I thought Nate Frazier was going to get the majority of the carries in this game, and he did. But obviously, Chauncey was a little bit more effective, a little bit more shifty, especially with that last run, unfortunately, of
Yeah.
36 yards that put away the game. So Bowens had 9 carries on 71 yards. Well, he lost a yard, so net 70 yards, a touchdown, 7.8 average, especially obviously that 36-yard run
Yeah.
did a lot to it. So
Yep.
again, it's tough, right? Missing bodies back and forth. I know, of course, Devin was back, so that was great to see him. Obviously, the big impact play on the INT. But take a look at the scoring. The first quarter, we allow 7 points. The second quarter, we allow 3 points. The third quarter, seven. The fourth quarter, seven.
Not
It's
bad.
not it's not bad. It's more than serviceable. Again, regardless
Yep.
of, again, we can all agree Georgia is not who Georgia was, but again, it's still Georgia, it's still the fifth team in the nation right now. They still have weapons, right?
Yeah, and really, if they've been anything this year, they've been more effective offensively than defensively, right? So really, to
Bingo.
put that kind of stoppage up is really pretty good.
Exactly, especially with what Branch was doing, especially what Bowens was doing, and then you've got Delp, of course, who great tight end that he is. So again, they got 21 first downs, 138 yards rushing, 233 yards passing, 361 yards of offense. We were able to hold them under 400 yards of offense, which that's great in and of itself. So
Yeah.
hats off to that. A couple of standouts for me, Jordan Castells. Jordan Castell leading the team in total tackles with 11,
Yep.
5 solos, 6 assisted. A great game for Jordan, especially when you talk about a sack fumble that he probably should have had that was reviewed. We'll get to that later. But either
Uh-huh.
way, fantastic. This is probably the best game. I don't know about you, B, the best game I've seen Jordan put together in a hot minute. George
Yeah.
Gums, welcome back. Wherever you've been, it's glad to have you back. I mentioned him, Saturday night. I think B, you said he was your honorable mention, but
Indeed.
9 total tackles, 4 solo, 5 assisted, a big tackle for loss, a big sack. Miles Graham, 8 tackles. Bryce Thornton, 6 tackles. Aaron Childs, Jaden Robinson, Tyreek Sapp, Sharif Denson, 5 tackles each, right? And then Sharif with another tackle for loss. Great overall effort. 72 total tackles by this defense.
It's a
So I
nice
thought
number.
that was phenomenal. Yeah.
Yep.
Or anything north of 70, you're getting the job done. You're
That's
getting into
right.
the you're not allowing, if you're getting explosives, it's because you're getting beat because of coverages, because of mismatches, because of missed assignments. And that's exactly what happened. When you talk about a 42-yard long gain, a 36-yard long gain, a 17-yard long gain, and a 13-yard long gain. Technically, four explosives is not terrible. It's
Not at
good.
all.
Terrible, right? And so that's the thing about this defense. Despite the injuries and everything else, continuing to work, continuing to play, continuing to be serviceable, minus four explosive plays that really set it off. Um, Between Branch and then Bowens, the running back, I felt like the defense did what they had to do to make it a game, to give the offense opportunities. Of course, the offense stuttered. So again, I can't say enough good things about this defense hanging in, because arguably the defense has more key injuries than the offense does. And so
Yep.
again, another solid, serviceable, more than serviceable game from the defense. B. What do you have?
No, for sure. Really nice takeaways there. I like the explosive play call outs, and actually the way we would score explosives there, right? With 15 for rush and 20 for pass,
Yeah,
we would only have that as two. So that's really good. This is a
yeah,
Georgia team that's generated a fair amount of explosives. I don't know the exact number, but they're pretty decent on them. And, we shut it down. I mean, it was really, really good. So, overall, I think very solid game. Once again, very solid, honestly. Only exceptions really being the first drive of both halves, and then unfortunately a couple of key plays down the stretch. That was really the difference in this game from the defense. It
right.
just missed it a couple of times, and unfortunately they were in some bad spots. Right, the first drive of each half, not the end of the world. Unfortunately, couple key plays down the stretch, we missed it, and that wasn't great. We didn't execute in the key moments where UGA did. That's the unfortunate part. And this is something that I'm frustrated and also a little surprised by, to be honest. This has been the unit that has showed up and showed out all season. So I didn't really see, didn't really have the prediction there that this would be the side of the team that would drop the ball when the game was on the line. If
Right.
that was going to happen, and you would tell me, okay, pick a side of the ball that's going to drop, the more than once drop the ball, right? When the game's on the line, I wouldn't have said the defense, and they did really about three times, and that's pretty unfortunate. Now, once they just flat out got fooled by a good play call, I'll talk about that later. But the other two times, it was just execution. Georgia just out executed us. We talked about it a little on Saturday. Hey, hats off for them doing well, but also shame on us for not doing a little better, right? So to transition things to a more positive note, we did do a really great job containing Georgia on the ground. Again, this was a team averaging 190 yards per game.
Yeah.
190 yards per game, and we held them to 138. We also got 3 coverage sacks on Gunner. Don't fool yourself. Those were coverage sacks. He had time to throw that football. He couldn't. Nobody was open. And did a fantastic job of limiting his ability to scramble, those rushing lanes, that pocket contain and staying in your gaps and gap discipline and all that. Oh my goodness, defensive line was on point with that stuff. They did not leave him any windows. I mean, it was perfect, borderline perfect. It was really, really, really good stuff from there. I do have some issues with some of the scheme at places. Why was Miles Graham ever covering Zachariah Branch? Ever.
Oof,
In
right.
any circumstance. Ever.
Big
It was even
mismatch.
called out by Jordan Rogers right on the broadcast. That's craziness. Now, listen, Miles Graham is really, really good, but he can't cover that dude. Like, that's your premier wide receiver on that team. That should have never happened. I mean, frankly, he still did a serviceable job, but yeah, he got open. Well, no kidding, right? Shocker. Like, Miles Graham's a great athlete, but he's not covering that guy. Like, come
No.
on, man. So that was ridiculous. And then I'll also call out something on the very first series where we dropped Gums back into coverage on a sim pressure, but we
Oh
made him
yeah.
responsible to cover the receiver on the edge, like on the absolute boundary. He can't get back there that fast. I mean, Gums is a heck of an athlete, but nobody from the defensive line, I don't care who you are, is going to be able to get out there to make that cover. And he couldn't, and the ball got over him, and they got a first down. Easy as pie,
Hmm.
little pitch and catch. Terrible coverage scheme design. Grantham does this sometimes, and it just makes me scratch my head. Like, if the quarterback saw it, which he did, that is an automatic first down. You cannot cover that. There is no way. All you were doing there is trying to confuse the quarterback and hopefully get him, I guess, to make a mistake. But if he identifies it and he, sees what he's supposed to see or what he should see as a quarterback, you are cooked, man. So I don't like defenses that give a window for you to be cooked. That's generally not a good practice. So I'd like us to get away from things like that, right? We've done a couple of those this season. I've called them out when I've seen them. That's another one I saw, and I was like, what are we doing on that play? That should have been a 3-and-out to start the game. Instead, that drive went for a touchdown.
It should have
Just
been, and
like to
hence
point that
why,
out.
and hence why you brought up Grantham and not Robert. So I understand
Did I say
PTSD you
Grantham?
have. Believe it or not, that I was like, wait a minute,
Wow.
did he just make a third and Grantham reference?
Freudian slip big time there. Wow, that is that is wild. That is wild. Third Grantham got me. Got me. Ooh, sorry. Sorry folks. Yeah, that was Roberts. Whoops. My bad. Okay.
All good.
All right, getting back to some positives. Overall, again, really solid performance from this defense at all three levels. They continue to play so well as a unit, right? Cohesively, all three levels playing together as one. That was something they really preached about last year after the bye week and really started to put into motion. And it has been evident in this defense ever since that first bye last season. They've continued it on into this season. It is fun to watch. It's truly enjoyable for me to watch this defense play. I absolutely love it. Even when, it is it perfect all the time, every series? No, of course not. It's college football defense. Honestly, it's amazing that we're as good as much as we are, to be honest, because you just don't see that often in college. I just thought it
True.
was really, really great. I'll give some individual call-outs real quick. Gums, you mentioned it. We already discussed it on Saturday. But I want to give a little love to Castell, like you did as well, leading the team in tackles and actually coming downhill to make some really solid plays in this game. Not just the blitz
Oh
for the
gosh,
sack
yeah.
fumble, because it was a sack fumble, but he also came downhill and made a couple of great stops in the running game. Did he watch Alfonso Allen's film from last week and learn something? I don't know. Maybe. I'm just saying. He made some great tackles in this game.
He
And
did.
then lastly, I will call out Jaden Robinson. Really, really good in this one. Had a great hit over the middle on a guy that was a legal hit. Really nice stuff, right? And just some nice coverage plays and some good tackles in the run game as well. Great gap discipline, of course. Linebackers, again, just solid, solid, solid. And it's so good that they are, because Pup Howard has just not been able to play. I
Yeah,
mean, and man, I hate that, but at the same time, so incredible that we have three other guys that are just as talented. I mean, what a linebacking core. I talk about it every week, but I'm going to keep doing it because they're just so good.
next
So
man up.
really, really good
Yeah.
stuff. All right, moving on. Visor throw. I only have a couple. I already mentioned it, but again, super disappointed in the offense, just relying on what we've run previously for the bulk of the play calls in this game. I understand you may not want to try and reinvent the wheel in 2 weeks, but if you even keep the same formations, right? Don't change a thing. Run 11 and 12 personnel. It's not what I want, but do it. Just keep the same groupings and just vary the play design. Again, I called out the route with Trey. Do more of that. You can. You showed you can. It is very possible. Run different route trees, mix things up. Hey, heck, make things look the same on the same snap and then do something different post snap. That would actually be a great idea, because teams would be like, oh, I know what's coming. Oh, whoa, what just happened? And they would be fooled because they know so much about what this offense looks like typically and how predictable it is, that you could catch them so flat-footed it would blow your mind, right?
Wait, we can do
But
that?
you can, I promise. It's very possible, but we really just didn't do much of that at all. Yes, we ran it with DJ some more, as I mentioned. And there were a couple of routes that were different, as I mentioned. But it just was so much of the same stuff. And that just isn't going to get it done. Please, O'Hara, Callaway, Billy, as in Billy G, do better. You can do better. There's more to be had here. I had really high hopes for this. I knew it might not happen fully, but I mean, we could have done more than this. We could have done more than this. I hope
Yeah.
to see some more this week against Kentucky and further down the road. Come on, do better. All right. Next point, 4th down and 1 play call. You mentioned it to get us closer to a TD, or at least take some more time off before kicking a field goal, right? Again, was the decision to go for it correct? Absolutely. This was the right call. But everybody and their brother knows what's coming. You're going to run up the middle. And then what do? You run up the middle.
Up the middle.
And guess what? They stop you. That's Napier ball. That's Napier saying, hey, we don't care if they know what they're going to call. We're going to go out there and we're going to execute it better. We're going to execute better than them, and we're going to get that first down. No, that's not the right thing to do. Not because it can't be done, but because you take a competitive advantage when you say, hey, everybody thinks we're going to do this. Let's do something else. Mix it up. Catch them by surprise. It literally works all the time. Look at what happened to us when Mike freaking Bobo did it later in the game. This is one of the most conservative play callers in college football. Dude runs up the middle like 80% of the time. Not really, but it's high. And what happened? He knew, everybody knew, that it isn't a great idea to run up the middle when the whole stadium knows you're going to run up the middle. And what happened?
Leak out the edge.
He leaked out the edge, ran a play fake up the middle, and ran out around the corner with Gunnar Stockton. Take a chance, Ryan. Take a chance. Come on, man.
Well, it'd be nice if we had a more athletic, 6'3", 230-pound quarterback. Oh, wait.
Yep. You needed 1 yard. 1 yard. You got a million different ways to get it. I mean, it just that is the one way that you really shouldn't have tried to, and especially if you are going to run up the middle, doing it that way out of shotgun, it's just not the most effective way to do it. It just isn't. So anyway, that's all I got for Visor Throw, bud. What do you got?
Good things. I can't disagree with any of them for sure. I'm just going to keep it as simple as this: is 3rd and 10 with 1:15 to go in the first half. Lagway slips, loses the ball, recovers the ball, but loses the ball. Okay, with 1:15 to go, 3rd and 10, he went back that far. I'm not sure if he was looking for a home run, a grand slam, but with 1:15, you have time, you have momentum, get 10 yards, live another down. And again, was it the turf? Was it DJ slipping? Regardless of the fact, it's just tough to see when I feel like sometimes he tries to play hero ball. And at the end of the day, get 10, 11, 12 yards, get 9, get some yak, whatever, just get a first down. So that's the first thing. Second thing, 3:30 left in third quarter. UGA, bad snap, loss of yardage. Okay. Then the next thing you know, we stack that up with another stop. Hey, 3rd and long. Then we stack that up and we get a punt. We get some momentum. This is okay. I like where this is going. Okay, we couldn't score 6. That's fine. Trey sticks in the 54-yard field goal, makes it 20-17 in the 4th. So a 10-7 lead, then a 20-17 lead later on in the 4th. 7:54 left to go in the 4th. Miss it on that 4th and 1. You give the ball back to Georgia. Still up 20-17, and then you have the explosive run by Bowens up the middle for 36 yards for them to take the lead and then never look back. Those are opportunities and I'm glad you said it earlier, but those are opportunities I felt like when the defense needed to come up with a big stop, we were nice and close, complimentary football, whatever you want to call it. There are times where we could really count and say, this is going to be a big play. We're going to hold them to a field goal, but just didn't expect that explosive and did not expect us as in the offense, to falter that much. But to that end, I felt like it was a lot of, and you said it, similar plays, very similar plays, not even disguised, not even with the different route concept, but everything almost to a T similar. And again, I did not see any type of urgency out of Lagway. Anytime the camera got close to his helmet and you saw the eyes, I did not see someone who was determined. I did not see someone focused. I saw someone who was just okay, right? I did not see almost the $3 million quarterback with an NIL deal. I did not see someone who's the consensus number one in this class. I did not see all those things. All those things, for whatever reason, I am not seeing it. Maybe because I'm being overly critical, but that's part of what has my visor really dirty. Because my thing is, in a game like this, if you don't come out with as much energy and passion I mean, I tell you what, you saw Trey Wilson at the end of this game. That's how much it should mean. Kid was in tears, had a great performance, laid it all out there. That's what it should be. And for whatever reason, again, decent game, had opportunities, had pockets, but I did not see the fight that I was expecting us to have. Okay, done.
Interesting. I think you're being too hard on him on the slipping. That's Everbank, man. Everybody's
Sure,
slipping.
I
But
got you.
but I'll give it to you on the other. The other's fair, but tough for me to give anybody a hard time about slipping on that field.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Recruiting. No movement as of yet, but I'm hearing more and more noise. Heard a report on He's Kent, not sure how to pronounce that first name still.
Easy, yeah.
Talking about a possible flip. CJ Brana went to OSU for the game this weekend against Penn State. The flips are coming. Unfortunately, there isn't much we can do about it. And in fairness, especially with the coaching turnover and everything else, that's just going to happen. So we're just going to have to hold on a little for that and kind of just see where we are when the dust settles. So it is what it is. Any updates from you that I didn't already mention there?
No, two great call outs between Kent and Brana. My only hope is that the rule changes regarding the 5-day window and then the 15-day window. I hope that I hope that they favor us. I hope that, especially with the roster that we do currently have, they're able to reach out to some of these youngins, right? 426 and go, hey, all these things still exist. We might not have the same guy at the helm, but we still do this well. We still do this well. We still have these opportunities. We still have this amount of exposure. You're still playing in the swamp. I really hope those things echo loudly because, again, despite my criticism on how the team played, uh, again, this locker room is still together, B. Right, wrong, or
Yeah, it
indifferent. It's
is.
still together.
It is, and we'll talk about that here in a second. And just to clarify, those rules are for the transfer portal. They do not affect recruiting. Class can
Oh,
go
I'm sorry.
wherever it wants to go.
My apologies.
No,
I
no,
construed
I'm
that.
not saying you were saying that. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on it.
Yeah.
All right, good enough. Moving on. Pride of Sunshine, why don't you lead us off?
So first thing on Pride of Sunshine is what I just ended with. A lot has happened over the past 2 weeks. Uh, and again, I know I was critical of the fight and the energy and the enthusiasm, but regardless of anything else, to see all these guys still continue to come out and support, clap it up, whatever the case might be, um, still happy to see that in a big way. Trey I tell you what, Trey Wilson is still an electric player. I get it. He had a tough end of the year last year with the hip surgery and coming back, didn't have that first step that he had, the twitchiness that he had before. This game proved to me the twitchiness is still there. Probably a little more controlled, but it's still there. The explosion, the explosiveness, it's still there. So I was happy to see that. And not to mention, to see him in tears at the end of the game, knowing how much it meant for him to get back on the field, give that type of effort in a loss, that's huge. That's huge. I hope a lot of the other players around him saw that and could feel that emotion. The second thing, Trey Smack, 54-yard field goal. You said it, B.
Mm-hmm.
School record, ninth of his career, 50-plus yards passing the great Caleb Sturgis, who went to the league, kicked for the Chargers, the Eagles, the Dolphins. There might have been another one or two in there. So there's that. So kudos to Trey Smack. I don't know, B. I don't want to jinx him, but it seems like he's not going to miss the rest of the year. We'll see. Third thing, Uga. Ugga, ugga, ugga. Their fifth consecutive win in this rivalry. It's their longest run of success over the Gators since, I'm not sure if you saw this, but
I
they had a
did.
6 game win streak from 78 to 83. 78 to 83. That was a
Yep.
while ago. So, anyways, hopefully we can come back and do something about that. Fourth thing, Billy G, post game conference. Super proud of the way we bonded together. The guys played extremely hard. They did not have any quit in their DNA. We came in here to win, but we came up short. The Gators expect to win. There are no moral victories. You either win or lose.
Yep. I thought that
Couldn't
was
have
well
said it
said.
better. Couldn't
Yep.
have said it
Agreed.
better. I don't. I didn't think Billy G would be this kind of a coach, right? Knowing where he comes from with Urban and Mullen and those influences, but no coach speak, no, you know, ambiguous statements. No,
Yep.
no. Just here's the deal. It is what it is. Boom, boom. Move on. Done. Good. So I commend the fact of what he's trying to do with the squad. Again, it's going to take a minute to come together on offense. Hopefully, it does not take 2 or 3 or 10 more minutes.
Yep.
Hopefully, they can get it together here in this week of preparation coming into Kentucky. But at the end of the day, despite my criticism, I'm glad that the entire team showed up and they're at least unified in what they were doing. So there's my part of the sunshine for you, B. How about you? What did you see out there?
Yeah, yeah, much of the same. We had some questions coming in, not necessarily that we didn't think we knew the answers to, but we had questions, right? Will this team hold together, the way that they have shown that they can through adversity in the past, right? This is a
Hmm.
different kind of adversity, though. We weren't entirely sure how that would hold up and if they would, kind of retain the brotherhood and the fight and the effort that we've seen from them before. But all signs point to yes, I would say. Team played hard. I didn't see a lack of effort. And I liked that they were still salty on the last snap, having words with Georgia at the end of the game, despite the losing result. I liked it, right?
Uh-huh.
That showed that fight. It showed that fire. It showed they still cared, right? They didn't just walk off the field. They were getting in their face, right? Even though they were taking a knee. Um, I expected that this team would stay engaged despite Napier's departure, as I mentioned, and I expect that will continue. Billy G addressed that. He said there's no quit in this group. Napier said the same, and I think that's probably true. Again, this is something that I think has really been built into these guys and really been made a part of them and a part of their identity. Um, I will say time will tell if that continues as we move through the remaining games, especially depending on some key outcomes here down the stretch. If we get to a place where bowl eligibility is out of the picture at some point, which hopefully is not the case, but that could happen, right? With a untimely loss to a team or two here. Um, that could very easily become the case. So if that becomes the case before the last game of the season, what do we look like then, right? I don't know. That potentially does throw a wrinkle in, right? So there are some situations that I would still raise question marks about, but for now, I think I feel pretty good about it. So we'll see what happens this week and beyond, but so far so good as far as that part goes. All right,
Very good.
here we go. Move back. You suck. Boy, did they, as I like to say. Let it begin.
Yeah.
So I will start by saying I thought most of the calls on the field were fairly decent. There was a nasty hold missed on the first drive on Gums that allowed a first down and subsequently a touchdown. Um, on that first drive as well. Again, not saying the hold would have prevented a touchdown, but that drive went for a touchdown, and it was a bad hold, miss hold call. I mean, bad. He literally got tackled from behind. They later called a hold on Austin Barber later in the game. Interestingly enough, that I'm not sure was a hold, could have been, but if that was a hold, then this was absolutely a hold because what Austin did was the guy was still in front of him. Gums had beaten his man and was tackled from behind, and they did not call a hold. It's remarkable. Remarkable. However, that was one of a few missed calls that I saw. It really wasn't a ton. I thought it was pretty clean for the most part, again, on the field. The other exception I would say for on the field stuff is Gunner absolutely exaggerated the clapping more than just the one time that they flagged
Oh
him
boy.
for it. Um, that definitely could have been called multiple times. However, again, overall, on the field, decent officiating. Really didn't have a lot of beef. Replay, on the other hand, very different story. And if you've been anywhere near social media since this game, you probably are aware of multiple calls, though one obviously stands above the rest. But there were 3 replay reviews in this game. And I could absolutely make an argument that actually all 3 were incorrect. And we're going to get into that now. And yes, that includes one that upheld a no fumble ruling for Lagway. And I can make an argument that that was also wrong and
Right.
allowed the Gators to retain possession. So it's not just about ones that benefit us, just so we're clear here. We try to view this as objectively as we possibly can. I want to stress that because this isn't a bash the refs for the Gators benefit session. Really try to make that as clear as we possibly can on these things and really try to talk about this in an objective light as we possibly can. So, first and foremost on the replays, the incomplete pass by Gunner Stockton. And I put incomplete in quotation marks because this was ruled a fumble. And this was actually possibly the most egregious of the 3 because this is the only one that was overturned to the call on the field. And there's no way there was enough evidence on the replay to overturn this call. Yes, his arm moved forward, but there was no angle shown, absolutely no angle shown to be able to determine if he lost control of the ball before or after his arm was moving forward or not. It simply was not in any way indisputable and really not even determinable from any angle that I saw. So to use what we had shown anyway, and again, perhaps there are other angles in Birmingham, we would know that if we had transparency. I'll get to that later. To use what we had to overturn a fumble ruling that then directly led to points, by the way, without UGA gaining another yard is simply outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Now, didn't end up deciding the game. They would have still won by 1. However, if they were down more points, would we have gone for it on 4th and 1 or would we have kicked a field goal? I wonder, because then rule of scores is different. I'll leave that one alone. Moving on, the DJ down or fumble play. This ball looked clearly to me like it was moving out of his hand before it hit the ground. As it hit the ground, it looked like he regained a bit of control before then ultimately losing control and, quote, fumbling. However, before that loss of control happened, his hip did then hit the ground. But when the ball initially hit the ground, no part of his body was down. So if he was losing control on the way down, and you make the argument that that was the case, and then he ultimately loses control once the ball does hit the ground, you can make an argument that this was a fumble. If he was already in the process of losing control on the way to the ground, which an argument certainly could be made for. Again, is that enough to overturn a ruling on the field? I don't know. That's tough, right? That's difficult. But I can see an argument, since the play was ruled down and not a fumble, that it would be difficult to overturn, right? Once again, as with the first play, very difficult to overturn the rule in the field. Interesting. And yet we overturned the first one. Didn't overturn this one, so that's good. But then there's the final one, the one to rule them all. This third event catch, and yes, it was a catch. And this is where I'm really bothered by this, because this one, you did have the evidence you needed to overturn. Multiple different angles of this, both sides, and the most important rear view, right? Where we showed both of his arms underneath the ball on both sides, right? Those were your side views showing that he got underneath the ball. And then that all important rear view angle. And that was the key. And there's been multiple replays of this on social media and so on and so forth, all over the place, showing that the nose and the bottom of the ball did not contact the ground. And that's why this was undisputably confirmed as a catch by replay. And yet, here we sit with a loss, wondering what could have been. And once again, this did not guarantee that we would have won, but it took away the opportunity. So I ask you, wouldn't it be great to see and hear what's happening in Birmingham in the replay headquarters with these decisions? Well, perhaps the SEC should actually learn something from the ACC. Can't believe I'm saying that, but I am. The ACC has started just recently. Don't know when they started it exactly because I don't watch a lot of ACC football, but they did on Saturday. And I've heard this has been started at least for a few weeks here. Maybe it was been all season. I don't know. But the ACC has started to broadcast their replay game day operations center in a live feed with every replay review that happens on the field. So you actually get to see and hear what's happening in Charlotte for their live replay reviews. They give you a live feed with audio to that broadcast to hear what is going on with their replay review and the decision that is being made. What an awesome way to get transparency, see what's happening, and have access to an unfiltered process and understand, at the very least, the call and what is being discussed. What if we could do that in Birmingham? Then we might know how much Georgia's paying to have the call go their way. What a great concept. That's all I got. What's your officiating review, bud?
Upsetting. Still upsetting. And this is what's tough about officiating is the fact that there is no transparency. And it's funny, B. I can agree with you on a lot of fronts. And the fact that you can even say and justify those three review plays, um, I think the thing that I take away from these three review plays, well, at least the first two, is a concept that I like to call firm control.
Yep.
Let's talk about the term firm control.
Yep.
The DJ fumble as he's going down, that ball was moving. Did
Yeah,
he
he
have
did not have
firm
firm control.
control on
Absolutely
that
not.
ball as he was heading downward? And again, his hip was in play, arm was in play, the knee was in play, all of those things. Did not have firm control. Ball was moving a good bit.
Yep.
If you look at the replay on the hit from Castell on Stockton, as Castell hits him and his hand is about to move forward, notice how that ball is not in the same position as he was holding it with fingers on the laces.
Yep.
That ball was turned because of the impact that Castells had to jostle that ball loose. Therefore, his arm might have been moving forward, but he did not have firm control of that football in his hand. So,
Yep.
believe it or not, I see that both. I see both of those plays or both of those calls as being inverted.
Agreed.
So you've got that there, and then the last one, and I think we'll have to chalk this up to Everbank or Shad Khan, but
Yeah.
allegedly, I'm not sure if you saw this, but allegedly there is 0 cameras at Everbank Field that give you 4K picture. How? No idea. The other thing is I would have hoped that, because again, when you look at overturning a call, it has to be the I word comes into play, indisputable.
Yep.
I guess that has different definitions. So indisputable means different things to different people or different things to different officials, especially SEC officials. The funny part about, not funny, haha, but the funny part about the Sturdivant call is I felt like if they would have ruled it a catch, it would have been tough to overturn. But the fact that it was ruled incomplete, they went to video review, and for whatever reason, they could not determine if it was his ground, the ground, or his forearm that caused the ball to pop up. Now, again, did they get the call wrong? I believe they got it wrong. However, they were put in a situation where it was already ruled incomplete. So, was there any type of evidence that could be indisputable or make it inconclusive to overturn? And clearly, they did not feel so. I really
Well,
felt like,
I mean, maybe, but all right.
hey, all I'm saying is if they would have ruled it a catch on the field, they probably would have went with it and said the call was upheld. They rule it incomplete. Is anything indisputable? The call is upheld. That's the safe route for them to go.
I
So,
I hear I hear your argument, but if we had transparency to the replay booth, we wouldn't have to wonder, would we?
which brings me to my final point, Your Honor. Um, when you look at what the ACC did this weekend, and I believe the words I used with you, B, was unprecedented,
Yep,
but needs to happen. Needs to happen.
it does. It does.
Folks, here's the thing. Officiating is human. This is not like the major leagues where in the minor leagues they're talking about bringing in AI to call balls and strikes. Okay, a robot, from iRobot's not going to run up and down the field and make calls and throw flags, and no, it's not that at all. But the thing you got to understand is there's a human element to it. Fine, no problem. What I would like to get around is the ego. And let me explain. There are some officials who take the position the call is the call is the call. It's my call, and the call is the call. Not, I made this call. There could be a little bit of gray. Let's go to the tape. Let's go to this. Let's go to that and review. This is an issue that we had with an official, and B, I forget the conference. This happened about a month ago, and that official basically said, "Okay, fine, I'm not going to officiate." It was a white hat. It was a referee. Said, "I'm not going to officiate anymore. I'm out. Bye." I believe it was a Syracuse Orangemen game up in New York.
Hmm. I
After he
don't
gets a
remember the name
call
either,
in,
but I know what you're talking about.
right? He gets the call in on his headset. Hey, we're going to go to review, and he basically was like, "No, okay, we got to be better. We just got to be better." And
Correct.
with SEC, and I referenced it before, but I'll say it again. Josh Pate had a great thing to say there, Pate State, as far as a $1 billion industry and nickel and dime officiating. If this league is going to be better, if this league is really going to live up to the play that it gets every single Saturday, week in, week out during the season, then the biggest upgrade it needs to make is not necessarily the TV deals, but it's in officiating and the systems, the process or no, I'm kidding. But seriously, a little bit of transparency goes a long way with how some of these calls are being made, and I'm going to leave it there.
Yep. No, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. I think it's the most time we ever spent on officiating, but I think it's justified considering the magnitude of some of these calls. You know, we often talk about
Yeah,
we don't want this to affect the outcome of the game.
no,
We often don't spend a ton of time on it more than just our evaluation of what we saw because it typically doesn't, thankfully. But in this case, it clearly did. Not to say that it would have ended differently, but it affected things that happened both at the end of the first half and the end of the second half. Again, opportunities were changed because of this, both for and against us, and that has an impact. So we had to get into a bigger conversation here. Obviously, again, also the changes with what's going on in the ACC were relevant also, especially because of so many replays here. So there you go. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about next week. Let's wrap things up. Give me your thoughts on Kentucky and what we think is going to happen this week and moving forward. Where you at?
yeah. So next week, Kentucky, Kroger Field, Stoops. Uh, you know what? I can't believe he's been up there for more than 10 years in Kentucky. He's got a lot of challenges. He's got a lot of hills to overcome. He's got a a lot of injuries to overcome. I expect us to go into Kentucky. We just had 2 weeks to prepare for Georgia. Obviously, Kentucky is not Georgia as far as the personnel, the talent. There's a big gap. I expect us to have a much different game against Kentucky, even though it's in Kentucky. I expect us to breathe a little more. I expect us to play freer. I expect some of those concepts to evolve on the offensive side of the football. I expect that DJ is going to look back at what he did last year against Kentucky and go, hey, yeah, rinse and repeat. Let's do that again. 20+ point victory, right? All those things I really hope come to fruition. Because if not, then I'm telling you, just going to be a long 5 game stretch starting with Georgia. And I really hope they can put it together. Feel confident. Billy G's first road game, but again, he's been there, done that, got the T-shirt in his 2 other stints with this program. So I just hope that we can play competent, we can play free, we can play fast, and we can play purposeful. That's what I want.
Yep, I like it. I like it. Good stuff. I was just looking this up, and I don't know if this is accurate or not.
What?
So, according to AI, which I don't trust at all to be accurate, but according to this, the last time we won, that can't be right. Saying the last time we won in Lexington was 2017? That can't be right. It can't have been that long ago. Right?
I don't feel
Validate
like it
that
would
for
be.
me. Validate that for me.
That's what I
It
can
can't have been
find.
that long ago. I know we didn't win in 21, right? We
That
definitely
was
didn't win
Ray.
in 23.
Yeah, Ray's still running, but yeah.
Right. We lost in 21. We lost in 23 for sure. But did we lose in 19? We didn't lose in 19, did we? I don't think so. That would have been Trask. No, because Franks got hurt that year and Trask came in and we won. They're wrong. We won in 19. So it's still 2019 though. It's been 6 years since we won in Lexington. Granted, we only play every other year, but still, it's been 6 years. So, um, yeah, that's correct. We did. Franks got hurt in that game. Trask came in. We came back and won. I can pull that from memory. I don't need AI. So this will be an interesting game. Do we see more effort and hustle from this team? Do they continue to play for the patch, as has been discussed, and for bowl eligibility this season? Or did this loss take something out of them? I don't know. I hope not. I hope we don't see any kind of lingering effects there, right? In that regard, I think we're going to have to wait and see a little bit, but I expect them, as I said, to still continue to fight. They still got more than a chance at bowl eligibility. I think it's absolutely possible that they continue to go for that and fight for that and just play for each other as they've continued to do. But I'm also hopeful that we see a little more from both the play calling side and from Lagway here in terms of taking advantage of potential opportunities, right? So um, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to this week and really moving forward in general, right? I think that's the theme that I'm looking for is do we continue to expand on opportunities with the play calling, with taking advantage of the athletes that we have on the field, right? From an offensive scheme standpoint. And
Yeah.
does DJ continue to hopefully continue to get healthier, if not healthy, and improve his play? I'll take a moment to talk about this just briefly. I made the call out about the run being a significant play because of game planning and scheme and everything else, but there's one more element to that that I didn't mention on Saturday. That's the first time I've seen DJ run like he ran last year before he got hurt since he got hurt.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen him run like that this year at all. Every run he's had this year, including in this game up until that run, he has looked tentative. He has looked hesitant. He has looked, frankly, a bit slow. He didn't look any of those things on that run. And each subsequent run that he had in this game, there were 2 or 3 more, he didn't look that way either. He finally started to look like a player that was actually trusting himself to run the ball. Does that affect other things as well? Does that make his first step in his drop back quicker? Does that make his ability to evade the pocket and scramble and move around better, quicker? Is he finally trusting whatever has been bothering him with his leg, calf, hamstring, combination of both, whatever it's been? Is that finally better? I don't know, but it's something we should be keeping an eye on for sure. I
Yeah.
suspect that it's possible because there was truly a difference in that run. I didn't call it out on Saturday because it was a bit much to get into on our, rapid reaction trying to be brief pod. But I do think that there is something to that potentially that I will definitely be keeping an eye out for here moving forward. Because if that hesitancy in his running, in his first step dropping back, in his timing, in his footwork, even that has been off because of timing, if all of those things get better because he trusts his legs more, and as he said after the game, feels like they are actually underneath him now, could that make a difference? I don't know.
We hope so.
We'll see. We hope so for sure. All right. With that, keep it or pitch it time. Man, you are just on fire. 3-0 again for the
Wow.
second week in a row. I
Wow.
went 2-1. I'm trying them out a comeback, and I just can't. I am now 10-14. You are 15-9.
Whew.
Smoking it. Absolutely smoking it this season. Very well done. Very well done. So
Thank
just to
you.
recap, yeah, absolutely. Just to recap last week, UGA ranked 32 in the nation at 19.57 points per game allowed. Florida will break the streak of not scoring more than 20 against the Bulldogs. Nope. In the past 4 years and put up at least 27. I kept it. You pitched it. That was our difference. Obviously, you were wrong. I was right. Or, excuse me, I was wrong. You were right.
Yeah.
Number two, UF ranked 33 in rushing defense at 117.7 yards per game allowed, while UGA ranked tied 37th in the nation at 190.6. Gators defense will hold the line and keep the Dogs to under 150. We both kept it. We were both right. Lastly, current spread for the cocktail party is favoring UGA by 7.5 points. Thankfully, Gunner took a knee, or we would have both missed this. Florida will
Ooh.
keep this match closer, win or lose, and cover the spread. We both kept it. We were both correct. All right, so moving along to this week, Florida is currently averaging 1.9 sacks per game. Not nearly as many as we thought they would get this season, but the defense will improve on that average this weekend, recording at least 3 sacks against Kentucky on Saturday night. Keep it or pitch it.
The boys going to bounce back. They're going to push on that line. That Kentucky line was nothing like that Georgia line. I'm saying keep it. We're getting at least three against Kentucky Saturday
Yep,
night.
at least 3. Yep, I'm going to agree with you. It's at least 3. Could be more, but at least 3. I am keeping it as well. I'm just going to start agreeing with whatever you say because apparently you don't miss. It's my only way to come back. I won't come back, but at least I'll get picks right. All
Right.
right, number 2. DJ had his most prolific SEC passing game in his career, actually, last season against Kentucky. 279 yards was the number. Now that he is feeling healthier, according to him, and did look it in the second half, this weekend he will have a get right game, not a bounce back, but a get right game for him, and will pass for over 270 yards at Kroger Field against the Wildcats. Keep it or pitch it.
Yeah, I'd like to say he's going to get there and get in his fields and go, you know what? Hey, I remember doing this on this lovely striped field with the dark grass and light grass and Kroger stores and just bluegrass. And yeah, no, as much as I want to keep it be, I'm going to pitch it.
I knew you were going to pitch it. I am keeping it. I think he does
Whoa.
do it. Yeah, I think he does do it. I think the way this team has played historically against us and really just in general sets up well from a scheme standpoint. They play a lot of static zone. I think that fits DJ's eye well. I think almost regardless of play calling, even though I hope it's better in terms of play design, I should say, not play calling, play design. I think we can do some things that will set up well against this, and I think he is able to hit a big number here. So I am going to keep it. All right. Last but not least, Florida's defense currently ranks 32nd in the country. This is really what we wanted. It's so sad that our offense cannot produce because this is what we wanted defensively.
Uh,
32nd in the country in points allowed at 20.5. The defense will turn up the heat in Lexington on Saturday and hold Kentucky to under 17 points. Not 17 or under 17.
mm.
Keep it or pitch it.
Yeah, well, again, they've scored 71 points this season. Uh, again, field goals and extra points in total, 16 field goals, their longest being a 55-yarder. Whoop-de-doo. 26 of 27 PATs. All that being said, I'm going to keep it.
You're going to keep it. They're going to go under 17.
I'm going to keep
I'm
it.
gonna I'm gonna
Uh,
pitch it. I'm gonna pitch it.
oh,
I think the number is like right at 17. Maybe they even hit 20, but like it's somewhere right in there because they're the home team. I'm gonna give them
you
the edge to
are.
get there. We could very well keep them
Okay.
under this number. The defense is good enough to do it for sure, but I think it's too close. That number was, we debated whether to keep it at 17 or under. If we had said 17 or under, I would have kept it, but because it's under 17, I'm pitching it. I think it very well might be 17. If I was going to give a game prediction, I'd probably have it like
Okay.
27-17. Like that would probably be my pick in this game. All right. Okay, moving along. Sims notes. Very interesting here. So Sims have been getting a lot better. They've been getting a lot more accurate since we started the season. We're now 4 games in a row predicting the correct outcome. And the key stat has been on point 3 in a row. So with that, we're predicted to go 10-0. We did not lose a game.
Not all.
Which is kind of shocking. The last time we went 10-0 was USF, and we all know how that went. So,
Oh boy.
yeah, but I'm not saying. So again, we just to throw this out there, we do not use the results of the wins and losses to predict this. We do it for a key stat. So, just to give you some high level overview, 10-0 versus the not so Wildcats with an average margin of victory of over 20 points a game, which is wild. That is wild. Uh, and we also averaged over 36 points scored per game, which is also just bananas when you look at what we're doing offensively. So I don't think any of that's going to happen for the record. But we also averaged over 400 yards of offense, while Kentucky averaged just over 300, so almost 100 yards. In fact, I think it was a little over 100 yards discrepancy in total yards of offense averaged. Some wild turnover swings in these games. We had a +5 margin in one, but also a -4 in another, and still won the football game, which is crazy. But in these
Wow.
games, regardless of all of that, in the end, the key stat that we're looking for is third down conversion percentage. Not what it is in a number, not what it is in their number, just that ours is greater than theirs. In every one of these games, we had a better third down percentage than they did, no matter what it is. I don't care. It can be 20. If they have 18, good, we win. That's all we're looking for, right? We just want to be better. The only time we weren't better than them in these sims, we tied them at 31%, mind you, but we had a +2 turnover margin. So it kind of made up for it. And by the way, that was only a 3-point win that we had in that particular sim. So ultimately, clearly, third down margin leads to better possession of the ball, keeping it longer, right, and then ultimately winning the game is what the sims kind of dictated here. So again, beat them in every single one of them except one, and that one we beat them in a turnover margin, and ultimately we only tied them. So technically they never beat us in any of these. So if they beat us in third down conversion percentage, watch out. It may not be pretty, may not be fun. So that's the one we're going to look out for, and hopefully we're able to hold on to this. The only thing that might get us over that hump is if we get 4 or 5 turnovers. So we'll see. Again, in this one, that still didn't matter, but time will tell. So with that, we will wrap things up here. Thanks to everybody for hanging out with us tonight and going through this and reviewing all these points against the tough loss with Georgia. We really appreciate it. Randy and I do this just for our love and passion for Gator football. So it really means a lot to us for everybody that hung out. As I've been saying more and more lately, we really do appreciate. We are trying to grow this thing where we can. So if you're on a platform and you can like this, if you enjoyed the content, please do so. If you'd like to hear more, please hit that subscribe button on wherever you're listening. And with that, I'll turn it over to you to sign us off, bud.
Absolutely, my man. Hey, look forward to it. So after the Kentucky game, of course, we've got our first bites, our rapid reaction that night of November 8th, and then we'll have our regular cadence on that Monday, on the 10th.
Yes,
And our
indeed.
breaking down the analysis of Florida, Kentucky. So can't say it enough. B, enjoyed it. Thanks for the therapy. That was great.
Yes,
And
therapy indeed.
everyone tuning in, thank you so very much. Appreciate the time. Whenever you are, wherever you may be listening, we thank you for taking the time, and we will see you around, Gator Nation.